good morning, or whatever time it is for you during the day. I feel really precious to be here with you in this Sangha. When you see me making funny moves with my neck or my shoulders, that's due to an accident I had 5 weeks ago. So it's the first week now where I'm again working. So I welcome all of you with all aspects, all part of you, into this week of exploring the theme of belonging, our longing for belonging. And I wonder how many of you really belong here at this very moment, like feel the feeling of belonging. And do you allow all aspects of yourself to be here? Or do you have the feeling of, oh, I rather wouldn't have my back pain. I rather wouldn't have that tiredness or this grumpiness in the morning. Just to check in. And one wish I have for this week that we really share our common wisdom here. Only because I'm speaking at the other side of the screen, that doesn't mean that I know anything better or more than you are. We all have our wisdom, and also this we call a common true wisdom. We see to overlook it. We see not to recognize it. We seem not to see it. So welcome with all of that. So the Buddha taught us by laying out the law of dependent origination that everything leans into everything else. Everything leans into something else. Nothing just stands out for itself. All matter is influencing everything else. And it's not just a spiritual idea. Like a seed of a fruit wouldn't make a fruit grow, right? We need the right conditions. If you take one of the conditions away, the water or the sun or the right soil, the fruit wouldn't grow, or it would grow in another way. So I'd like to read you something from Martin Luther King Jr. I see where I have it. In a real sense, all life is interrelated. All are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly, affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. Social scientists who do research on psychology and behaviors of groups, they have concluded that humans share a need for belonging. Also in the nonviolent communication, if you are familiar with that, there are lists of needs, and the need of belonging is always mentioned among the first top ones of that list. That has even been demonstrated that when people feel lonely, that brain circuits light up in the same regions that register physical pain. So loneliness literally hurts. And it's somehow weird that in the time of internet, where we are more connected than ever to each other, it seems that people still do feel very lonely. I'm living here in this big community with about 200 people, and there are still a lot of people who feel lonely. So it hasn't got to do with belonging to a group. It's very supportive, but it's not really what this belonging I'm talking about means. It's more like the freedom in it. Belonging is our nature. It's our nature of our nature. It's the feeling that we are one. And in this, when we experience that, physically, when we embody this, then we are much more resilient, much less stressed out. There have also been researchers about that. The feeling of not belonging can really give us like a feeling of exile, in the sense of, I won't survive that. And I wonder if you had that feeling before of, I won't survive that, this is so painful. And if you had, you might know that it's not always belonging to something or belonging to a group. It's when we separate ourselves from ourselves, or if we separate ourselves from others. And even though we all share this need so strongly, it seems that we're living in this delusion of separateness. We share the belief that we need to be separate in order to be a human being, an individual. And this separation is one of the core wounds of our society. This is what leads to loneliness and to a lot of suffering. And if we don't embody this one big body, we are all in together, like together with the trees and the nature and our neighbors and our friends and our ex-friends, this leads to suffering and destroying of the whole planet. The Lakota people, they have a word they use for belonging. They have a deep understanding that nothing is separate, that all are relatives. And the word they use is the word Wonkan Tanka. And I really like that. Wonkan means wholeness. Tanka, connected to all. Wholeness, connected to all. So this practice we are sharing here, we might assume it's a practice of watching our breath and labeling and recognizing our thoughts, emotions and emotions and feelings. But in fact, it's a practice of belonging. It's a practice of finding our way back home, our way back into belonging. And what we need for that is to really understand how we separate ourselves from us and how we separate ourselves from others. I will go more into this tomorrow. And how to find our way back home. So today's exploration is more about how do we separate ourselves from us? And I like to bring in the question, if you would lay a puzzle and all these puzzle pieces are aspects of yourself, and really all aspects, your habits and your patterns, and the manipulative sides and the controlling sides and the freaked out sides, the jealousy, the envy, the anger, all body parts of yourself. How would you feel laying out that puzzle? Would you happily put all the puzzle pieces together, or would you rather leave pieces out? Because I do have the feeling that we push away our so-called dark side, our shadow side. There is a quote, and I don't know who said that. I got it from one of my teachers. And the quote is, "What is the sense of reaching out to the moon when we don't even overcome the distance of our own inner trench?" What is the sense of reaching out to the moon when we don't even overcome the distance of our own inner trench? So we really need to make everything belong, also the parts we don't want in ourselves and the parts out there in the world, where I go about it tomorrow. If we want expansion, we need the contraction. There will never be only expansion. There will never be only light, only openness. It's impossible. Look at your body. Look at the heart. Look at the lungs. There's expansion and contraction, and we need that to survive. Look at the pelvic floor. Look at the diaphragm. Inhale. Exhale. The veins, the pulse. It's there. It's in birth. It's part of us. We can't move forward without contraction. It belongs. Look at nature. Now in Europe we have autumn, trees falling. We are part of nature, and deep inside we know this season. We have this season in us. We have the longing for going more inwardly, more quiet when there's autumn, when there's winter. We're part of all that. So how can we build bridges between our light and the shadow? Because what happens, and this is really important, I think, when we don't face our shadows, if you don't dare to become intimate with them, they just do their own thing, and they develop an unwholesome life. So what separates us from ourselves? It's this feeling when something hurts, or something is not quite right with me. There's something wrong about me, otherwise that wouldn't hurt so much. So I should be different, should be like this, or should be like that. And that's where the collective trauma starts. I want this, I want that. And we judge ourselves and we judge others, and there we have the separation. What separates us from ourselves is that what we don't want to look at, or we don't want to be aware of. There's nothing wrong with the strength of anger, the strength of all these strong emotions we have. There's nothing wrong with it. But if we separate our wakefulness, our awareness from this, what's going on in us, from our shadows, then they just do their own thing, and we don't give them like a holding hand. We are not interested in them anymore. There's no more curiosity. So I really invite us to become more honest with the dark sides and to get really curious about them. How would it be if we wouldn't have to decide between lightness and darkness, if we could find a space where we can allow all that? Because this is the place of juiciness, this is the place of aliveness, and we all share the longing for authenticity. Okay, we go further with that during this week and look into different aspects, and now I'd like you to get ready for the meditation time. So make yourself comfortable, and I always speak out the invitation to also lay down. And yes, I think it's also appropriate to lay down when you just come out of bed, because we usually don't take enough time to deep rest and to allow to see what's coming through when we are not holding anything. It's rather usually sleeping or being very active during the day or numbing ourselves. So, but take any position which is comfortable for you. And just see what micro movements you might want to make with your body. Maybe there's adjustment in your neck, in your shoulders. Maybe you want to invite sighing, yawning, making some sounds. Just really getting in touch with what is there below your body, the ground. Maybe getting in touch with texture. Maybe there is some texture on your body, around your body, which is inviting a sense of letting go, inviting a sense of relaxation. What do you need to arrive here in your meditation time? What's supportive for you? And really take time for this arriving. Maybe taking another blanket, maybe just really cuddling in. Okay, how can you invite friendliness into your posture? Maybe tuning into the corners of your eyes to soften this part of your body a bit, to feel into the space behind your eyes, around your eyes. Really tuning in there, feeling the space behind your eyes with this space, with your body. And stay there as long as you want. Maybe entering with your embodied awareness the space of your ears, the space behind your ears, the inner ears, the outer ears. Just sensing, is there a micro shift in the body when you tune to these body parts? Maybe feeling the length of your body. And just being curious to really sense how that feels, to be aware of the length of your body. And allowing gravity to pull you down even a bit more, maybe like an anchor on the base of the ocean. And tuning into the solid parts of your body, allowing them to sink a bit more. Kind of rooting the solid parts, the bones, the flesh. Being aware of the earth element in the bones. And just surrendering to this big globe which is carrying all of us. Being aware of the element of fire in your body, of the sun, and the temperature. Which parts of your body do feel warm or hot? Where do you feel coolness? Feeling into the sun, which gives us warmth, life, which is warming the earth, the plants, the animals, all humans, this whole planet. Feeling the element of fire in your body. And connecting to the element of water. Around 70% of your body consisting out of water. Feeling the oceans, the lakes, the rivers, the puddles, the streams. In your body. And the softness of your body. And the fluidity. Connecting to all the water which is covering our planet. Feeling this water in you. And connecting to clouds, to rain, to snow. All this part of you. Then being aware of the element of air in your body. What is light and ethical? Feeling the air in your lungs. Being aware of the breath. the expansion, the contraction. Inhale, exhale. Your whole body breathing on the body of the earth. Connecting to the element of space. Which is everywhere, in everything. Maybe tuning in into the space around your body. Maybe even sensing the space around that space. You're part of that. You're part of nature. You're part of all that which is around you. Inhaling, taking in from trees, from plants. Exhaling, giving back. Allowing the earth, the fire, the water, the air, the space in all your body parts. And if this is difficult for you, what about putting one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest? Or maybe even touching your face, really gentle, really kind and friendly. Feeling the whole body, breathing on the body of the earth, and allowing also resistance, judgments with your awareness. How would it be to really feel all of that your lust, your joy, your silence. Space. Feeling your body with your body. Being curious, being open, also towards contraction. And again, melting down to earth, sinking like the anchor on the ground of the ocean. Inviting friendliness, the friendliness of a warm wind. If you like, you can imagine your belly as an ocean, moving up, moving down, expanding, contracting. And all the thoughts and all the holding can flow in the rivers and the streams into this big ocean surrounded by mountains. Maybe allowing yourself to be the ocean, to be the earth, the air, the warmth, expanding with the elements in you to the elements everywhere around you. Opening the inner space to the outer space, expanding to the stars most far away from you. Below you, near you, above. And to end this meditation time in this formal way, coming to the transition of a listening meditation, I'd like you to go very slowly, really slowing down. Don't hurry. Maybe bringing your hands together and feel those hands touching each other. Maybe feeling caring hands on your chest, on your belly, or on your face, on your head. Just go so slowly. And while you're taking your time, I like to read you a part of a poem from Mary Oliver. And therefore, I look up in everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I look upon time as no more than an idea. And I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and a singular, and each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending, as all music does, towards silence. And each body a lion of courage and something precious to earth. So this is the time where our common wisdom could be expressed in questions or in making comments in the chat, where how this practice landed for you, how this teachings land for you. So feel so invited to ask questions. And feel so free to put anything aside which doesn't fit for you, like what I throw in here. Like you're so free to just do the practice, and this is for every morning really, which is like good for you. Like maybe you have established just feeling the breath in your body or whatever. Like really just take what's you feel has value for you. It's really, this practice is about finding our own way through. It's not like this is the way. It's for all of us really to find, maybe from day to day, from moment to moment again, what is the practice which brings me home? How can I embody on this earth and belong? What's supportive there for me? Yes. Thank you, George, for putting the poem there. When Death Comes. Yeah, I love that one. Just love Mary Oliver. You will probably hear more poems from her this week. Like, she's been so much out in nature, like sleeping in nature and writing about her embodiment there. And you hear me talking about embodiment a lot, and embodied awareness, embodied practice. And this is because our way to belonging is through our body. And we tend to think that mindfulness is just coming from the mind, has something to do with our head. And it's really interesting, just like to share that, if there are no questions so far, I think, that even in the teachings, we like have really clear, like it's about sensations, for example, or like feeling the breath in your nostrils, feeling some sensations at your nostrils, but somehow it brings us to our head, brings us up there and not down, like we, as if something maybe hasn't been quite transported from the east to the west, like as if we had forgotten the body sometimes. And one translation about sati, because sati means mindfulness, one translation I read and heard often is remembering. And I love that, because for me it's a practice of remembering home, remembering belonging with the selves. And in the word remembering we have the word membrane. Isn't it beautiful? So maybe you're just taking it slowly, coming out of your practice, or you don't have any questions. I just wait a few more moments. One idea I had when I came this morning to the teachings here was to read out all your names, but then I thought, oh, especially on the first day of the week, it would be take too much time, and I wasn't know about the rights there in terms of if it's allowed to do. Okay. So, but reading out your names and then having you sense how it feels, because we walk through life as if we don't belong somehow. Yeah, Cleve, you're asking Wonkan, Tankan, wholeness connected to all. What language is this, please? Where from? It's from the Lokata people, like an indigenous tribe in America. I don't know exactly where they are settled, and of course, I mean, their land has shrunken to a minimum of the land they were living on many years ago. And yeah, I wonder what has happened to this wisdom, because this word seems to be still common in their language, in their spirituality, and then they're facing all these so difficult circumstances. And tomorrow I talk more about belonging to everything, and also to the difficulties, also to war and abuse and all this stuff where we tend to think, oh, that hasn't got something to do with me. Like, that's not about me. I'm like not part of that. And the fact is, and that's maybe difficult to hear, that we are part of everything. Yeah. Also part of what happens to indigenous people. And I can look up the language. I don't know if it's called Lakota language. I think it does, but I'm not sure. There's another question from Hannah. Yeah, we cannot be who we ought to be until you are who you ought to be. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm happy to go a bit more deeper in this. Like, I just come with an example from like my real life, like when my partner, for example, is suffering and is not in his embodied belonging space, I can't be there completely because I'm part of it. It's a bit like the bodhisattva way where we are really caring for each other, and I will also speak more about that during the week, where his wisdom is supporting my growth. It's supporting my wisdom, my embodiment. Like we are not separated from our neighbors and the people we live in. That's at least how I understand this with Martin Luther King Jr. was. How he put it. So it's like we are not doing this practice for ourselves. Our awakening is spreading out. It's like really, and it's not there fully if we're not all in that. And it's a paradox there as well. So it's just not, and this is something I also will go deeper in this week, to not just come from our rational, cognitive parts. Because this part of belonging, which like what the Buddha set out, it goes so much together with what the theory of relativity and quantum theory, what their findings are. And if I really read about this stuff and go into it, and even though this practice is so much about belonging, I come to a place where I feel like I don't understand that. And the amazing thing, I think, is that like all of the universe, which is so far explored and understood by science and all the equipment, it's about 5%. So that means that 95% of the whole matter and this dark energy isn't understood. So we're coming, this is like still functioning, life is functioning, we are coming from this not knowing. I go a bit more into this during the week. Thank you so much also for your participation in the meditation and the chat, and just really feeling our common wisdom here together. Wishing you well. May there be peace on earth. May there be peace on earth. May there be peace on earth.